Oh, there's still like.
I was reminded the other day that
We're very open.
the time we moved down in this county back in 1988. And at that time, Lacey had like 15,000 people. And it's tripled in size. It's more than tripled in size. And so it's just amazing.
So.
Muted again. I didn't do that.
So since it's 6 o'clock, seems like it's a good time to call the Historical Commission to order, meeting for tonight to order. First thing we're gonna do is just do a quick roll call. We'll start with the people who are online. Alan, I'll let you just say hi.
I'm here, thank you.
And Kimberly. And
Hi,
July.
Yep.
And then we've got three of us here in person. Ed?
I'm here tonight.
Yeah. Kevin? And myself, Jim Keough. So we've definitely got quorum. I'd like to ask Ed to go ahead and read the land acknowledgement for the meeting this evening.
Thank you, I will do so. We, the city of Lacey, are on ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually Indian tribe and the Squax Indian tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still alive. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek as the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial. And abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We recommend that community members read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
I assume everybody's gotten a copy of the agenda. And if so, I would open with a request for somebody to make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll move unless you got a change you want to make.
Move to approve.
Okay, Kevin has moved to approve. Is there a
I
second?
would second it.
Ed seconded. Any discussion? Anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda? Hearing nothing. All in favor of approving the agenda for this evening, please say aye.
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 Got everybody. So we'll move on to the minutes for the evening from the last meeting in April. Does anybody have any changes they want to suggest to those minutes?
No.
Hearing nothing, I will be open to having somebody make a motion to approve the minutes from April 16th.
I would.
Ed makes that motion.
Second.
Kimberly, so it looks like she's seconding that. Any further discussion before we go to a vote? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the April 16th, 2025 meeting minutes are approved. Do we have anybody who signed in for public comment?
No.
No, okay, So let's move on to business items. The first thing we have tonight is a review of changes to a historic register property. We're gonna be making a decision this evening about the renovation project presented to us by City Gate Ministries for the property at 827 Lacey Street Southeast, also known as Lacey Women's Club. Everyone received a packet with all the information needed to make a decision today. Aaron will be providing us with information on the decision-making process and procedures, the proposed project, and the history of the building. After that, there will be time for us to make comments and for comments to be received from the public, and then for deliberation by the commission itself. Aaron, why don't you go ahead and kick it off for us?
All right, sounds good. Okay. All right, so I thought since it's been a while, we should kind of start from the beginning. So when does a design review occur? There are three situations when changes are proposed to a historic register property. And that's when a review is triggered. If a building is torn down, there are alterations proposed, or there's going to be a change of use. And the red box is around the two things that are happening to this property. So those are the things we're talking about today. That thing is very sensitive. Wait. I will use the keyboard. My, everything is in my way. There we go. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about the design or the decision-making process. So motions for this procedure are made on findings of fact, not on opinion. Oh my gosh. So it's based on law, the Lacey Municipal Code. It's measured against the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. These were provided in your packet, but I'll also be going over them a little bit. And these are the standards that you will use to determine whether the changes are appropriate for the building. Important features of the building or site as identified in the nomination form. The nomination form is also in your packet, and those significant characteristics are on page 9 of that. I will also have them up on the screen. And then another thing to consider is the current state of the building and how it varies from its original condition. Because unless somebody is, renovating something back to a historic time, usually there, are changes, and those have to be considered as well. Lastly, the proposed plans and how they affect the important feature. And the proposal is outlined in the application for certificate of appropriateness, which was in your packet, and we're going to be giving an overview of the plans as well. So the decision that you're making today is whether to approve or deny the certificate of appropriateness. And this decision does have to be made today because we are required by law to make a decision within 30 days of the submission of the information. So you have three options. You can approve the certificate of appropriateness. You can deny the certificate of appropriateness. And you can also decide instead to approve it with conditions. So motions should reference specific standards, specific features, and if you're going to approve it with conditions, you would need to include how those conditions would make the project align with the standards. So this slide is going to tell us how we're going to proceed tonight. So first, Jim will give a preliminary statement, which he's already done. The applicant presents, and I'm also the chair designated person to give the background information. And then the applicant presents their statement in favor of the application. Then we open it up for statements in opposition. Then anyone can comment, other than the commission, by anyone interested in the process. And then this public comment period is a little different than normal because people can have more than the 3 minutes and they can respond after someone else is done to what has already been said until everyone has had their say. And then this will be followed by staff comments and recommendations. And then Jim will kind of give us a recap of everything. And then the commission then finally will have the chance to talk through and make their decision. And lastly, if the owner does not agree with the decision, they have a chance to appeal it. All right, so let's dive into my favorite part, which is the history. So the Lacey Women's Club was an auxiliary club of the Elephants Club, which was a men's service club that was formed in the early 20th century. And in 1926, the women decided to separate from the men's club and be their own thing. And so in 1930, that's when they had their first meeting as their own organization and they adopted their bylaws. Fun fact, dues that first year were 50 cents a year. So one of their goals was to have their own building. They raised enough money to purchase the land in 1931 for $450. The building cost $958 to build, to construct, and it was finished in 1937. Another fun fact, the Elephants Club disbanded in 1960 and they gave their remaining funds to the Lacey Women's Club. And so they have outlasted their counterparts by 65 years. The Lacey Women's Club has helped many groups over the years, including the Lacey Children's Farm Home with canned goods, knitting items, and more. They've provided funds for Safe Place, the Salvation Army, and through adopting families through the school district. In 1979, they also generously donated the property behind their building for the Lacey Museum. And they continue to be active and give back to the community. And these are some of the early ladies. They look like a fun bunch, I think. So this is the earliest picture that we have. This is an assessor's photo from about 1939. So this was like right after it was built. The building has a vernacular design with some craftsman details, including the low-pitched gabled roof, the decorative brackets under, wrong mouse, under the eaves, the shingled siding, the double hung windows, and the square columns on the porch. Also notice this is a covered screened porch in the back. So this is a 1987 assessor's photo. I put the original photo in the little corner there so you could kind of compare them. In 1965, the back porch was enclosed and made part of the interior. So you can see in this picture, there's no screened porch. It's all just part of the house. And the addition was included under the roof extension, so it didn't affect the footprint of the building. In 1999, not visible in this picture, an ADA compliant public access ramp was added in the back. And at some point, these railings were added to the front of the building. I don't know when that was done. All right. And this is it this year. As you can see, not a whole lot has changed. It is pretty incredible that this 88-year-old building is pretty much looking almost the same as it did when it was first built. Pretty cool. All right, so these are the criteria that it was designated as a property on the register. The category was as a community organization clubhouse. The context was Lacey's economic, political, and social history from the early 20th century to the present. The level of significance is a local. And its historic integrity is that significant historical characteristics have been preserved with little change. So there's a full statement of significance in the nomination form. I didn't put the whole thing up here because a lot of it I just told you in the history. But basically, it's significant because of its direct association with with a community organization that has played an important role in Lacey since the early 20th century. And they met in the clubhouse from 1937 to this year when they gave the property to City Gates Ministries. All right. Earlier, I mentioned that the things that we need to look at are the significant historical characteristics. And this is what they are as they were identified in the nomination form. This is a one-story double wall wood frame structure cladded in wood shingle. It has a normal pitch gable roof covered in composition shingle. A concrete foundation, double hung wood sash windows, except for 2 single pane wood sash windows on the north side. Side gabled front entry covered by a center gabled porch roof. And then also included in the nomination form was information about the setting. It's on a lot in an open area with flowering shrubs in front. 2 shrubs have memorial markers for a longtime club members. A line of large poplars mark the north boundary of the property. Please note that there is nothing about the interior in any of these significant historical characteristics. So the interior can only be taken into consideration when it affects these features and the change in use of the property. And I recommend that you have these up while you're talking about it later. Okay, on this slide, I know I'm throwing a ton of information at you, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about it if you need information. So these are the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. You got a longer version in your packet. This is just the quick summary. And I have highlighted in green the ones that I think are the most salient to our conversation tonight. That doesn't mean that you can't bring up something else that you think is important, but obviously, number one, we're changing the use of this building, so that has to be an appropriate use for the historic integrity of the building. Secondly, we need to preserve the building's character. And then number 9, make alterations and new additions compatible with the historic property. Okay. All right, so let's move on to what the actual proposal is. So the proposal itself is outlined in detail in your packet. So I'm just going to give an overview, but you know, later the owner will have a chance to speak and you'll be able to ask questions or whatever if we need to dive into something more specifically. So they plan to convert the clubhouse into a residence. The front living area of the room, which is large and open, I'll show pictures in a minute, is going to be divided into a bedroom and an open floor plan living room. They plan to remove the wall between the utility room and the bathroom. They are going to install a water heater, a washer and dryer. And then there will be modification of electric, installation of insulation and plumbing to meet code and make it into a residence. So here are a couple of photos of the front room. You can see it's big and open space. And then this is the kitchen from the living room. You can kind of see in the back there, the utility room. And then the bathroom and the utility room, which I probably should have reversed them because they're not on the right side of each other, but they're gonna take down the wall between those rooms to make it a bigger bathroom. And so here is the floor plan. Here's the front door. So here's that big living room space and the wall that they plan to add. Make a door here and a door to the back hallway. Leaving this open to the kitchen and dining area and the washer and dryer here on the left wall. I was gonna try to do a direction, but I'll probably get it wrong, so I might as well just not.
Maybe the south wall.
Okay. And then this is the bathroom with that wall taken down to make it bigger and have enough stuff so it can have a shower and all those things. All right. So we have already had a pre-submission meeting with Community and Economic Development. And so they're satisfied. My understanding is that they're satisfied with these plans and that they're ready to issue a permit as soon as we tell them that we're happy to proceed.
Thank you, Erin. We'll now move on to the commenting stage of the review, and the first part of that is that I'd like to invite, is it Ed McBoy?
Yes.
To come up to the table and from City Gates Ministry, and give a presentation in favor of their application.
Thank you. Where would you like me to sit?
Any
Wherever
chair
you would
you can
like.
find up there. If you want to stand here.
And you can have a cookie, maybe after.
Last thing I need right now, but the offer, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I have brochures giving more information about City Gates Ministries. Can I hand these
Yeah.
around to the group just to give you some additional information about who we are?
Share this with our folks online. Thanks.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I want to thank the commission for inviting me to this meeting and for the consideration of our application. Again, my name is Ed McFoy. I'm a board member with City Gates Ministries and also a project manager. And I think it's appropriate too to as has already been done, thank the Lacey Women's Club for a remarkable 100 years in existence, as well as service to the community in the city of Lacey. It's quite a remarkable accomplishment, and I've met a few of their members, agree they're wonderful people and have provided such a valuable service to the community. We are very grateful that they chose to gift this property to City Gates Ministries. And it was with the intention to benefit the community in ways that are consistent with the City Gates Ministries' mission and purpose, with a primary focus, which is to help housing challenged individuals or families meet their needs for stable housing. So the intent is to renovate the clubhouse into a rental home. And in so doing, that helps City Gates fulfill our mission, and it's also beneficial to the city of Lacey to address their needs, your needs for affordable housing in the community. City Gates Ministries has been helping people in need in Thurston County for 3 decades. And that includes those with housing challenges. Last year, we completed our 14th mobile home renovation. We take mobile homes in disrepair and renovate them into low-cost housing units. And so similar to Habitat for Humanity, The owner occupant joins in the renovation project and the project team. And then they take title to the home once the renovations are completed. So even though the Lacey Street property is not, it's a house, it's not a mobile home. We have experience in making quality renovations, and then we also hire plumbing, electrical, HVAC contractors as needed to ensure the outcome is a safe dwelling. And we will be likely requesting permits for all three of those trades. And then, as Aaron mentioned, the Lacey Street project, a construction permit has been approved by the Department of Community and Economic Development. And we just need to pay the fee for that permit, and then that will be issued. I'm hoping that as the application for the certificate of appropriateness shows, City Gates Ministries is committed to preserving the historical integrity of the clubhouse. And we respectfully request that the commission approve our application. Aaron did also mention a couple of things that I did not include on the application for certificate of appropriateness. And those were on the list of significant historical characteristics. Number 4, the double hung wood sash windows, except for the 2 single pane wood sash windows on the north side. I didn't make comment to that in the application, but want to let the group know that the building department did not require that we make any changes to those windows or replace them. We can keep them as is, and that will be City Gates Ministries' intention to retain the existing windows. And then also with respect to the flowering shrubs, the memorial markers, and the large poplars, we intend to preserve those on the property as well. So again, thank you for consideration of our application. Happy to address any questions that the commission has regarding our plans.
So do any of the commissioners have any questions that they'd like to ask at this moment? I don't hear any. So I think the next thing we move to at this stage then is to see if there's anybody who wanted to make a statement of opposition to the project. They're invited to come forward at this particular point. I don't know that we have.
Doesn't look like it.
We don't have anything, no heads shaking. Okay. So
There's no one
then,
else online, right? Oh, we can't take it online anyway, right? Unless they registered.
so that would also tell us that we don't have anybody here to make public comment. That we see, oh, we do have one. Okay. You're up.
Good evening, my name is John Jacobs. I'm with.
Hey, John, if you could just go to the table, that way the mics will pick you up a little better.
Yeah, the mics are
Oh,
up
but
here.
I want to be away from the mic.
You have to eat a cookie too.
You already had one.
Good evening. My name is John Jacobs. I'm the secretary of the Lacey Historical Commission. I wanted to.
Society,
Sorry.
Lacey Historical Society.
Oh, God, did I say it wrong?
You said you were on the commission.
I don't know. I'm not on the commission. I'm just
Talking for John.
Yeah, thank you. In my capacity with the society, not the commission, I had the pleasure of interacting with Ed and his group as the society had some interest in using part of the property as a way to rehabilitate the existing memorial garden that is on the grounds, including 1 or 2 that have memorial markers. And I wanted just to say that the response from City Gates Ministries has been very positive. We look forward to working with them in that regard as we move forward. The society has not made a motion or any decision in opposition or in support of it, but as the individual designated to interact on the memorial garden aspect, I can only say that it's been a pleasure working with Ed and his group, and I'm again looking forward to something happening. I do want to say that unfortunately I did not read the neighborhood grant rules very well. We had proposed to request neighborhood grant funding to actually put a little part of the garden in the backyard of the facility, but I misread the rule that said you couldn't use private property for those grants, and so we're now back to square one. And again, even tonight, Ed has expressed an interest in continuing to work together. So I just want to make sure that his representations of being supportive of protecting the history is deep. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Are there any other comments that anybody wish to make? Are there any rebuttals to the comments that have been made so far? I have a guess it's gonna be quiet, but.
Actually, I think Aaron already has rebutted my mistakes.
Okay, so Aaron, do you want to talk about staff recommendation?
Yeah. So it is my recommendation that the certificate of appropriateness is approved both for the change in use and the proposed renovations. The change in use, I think, is consistent with the historic neighborhood. And it does not appear that it will affect the historic integrity of the property or its setting. The proposed renovations will only minimally affect the property's historic characteristics, such as minor changes to add a vent and remove some cladding and make room for that. And I believe that the owner has provided solutions that will minimize the effects of those changes. And so I put on the slide some wording for a motion if you wish to use it later.
Okay. So, at this point, we will go into deliberation as the Historic Commission. My recap of what we've heard so far is of course, this is a historic property, has a long history in Lacey. The ministries of City Gates seem to be, I won't say the same, but parallel in terms of societally based and focused on improvements to what the Lacey Historic, not the Lacey Women's Club had done historically. There is only a small amount of changes on the exterior. Almost all the changes to this will be to its actual use and to the interior, moving around a few walls and adding some primarily some utilities inside the property to make it more livable rather than more office gathering like. That would be my quick and dirty of all of those things. And the staff has given a recommendation that we approve. At this stage of the game, I open that to discussion from the commission members. Anything that you want to say or ask?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just curious, how's the title held on of the place? Who will hold the
Who
title?
will own the title?
Who owns it? City Gates
City
Ministry.
Gates.
Yes.
City Gates Ministry.
We acquired the deed for the property April 2nd. And that was transferred by the Lacey Women's Club to City Gates Ministries.
Alan just opened up his mic, unmuted. So Alan, what did you have to say or ask?
So has there been due consideration on adding mechanical and plugging the MEP stuff to the house? Is there going to be any sort of impacts to the exterior?
Can you say that again?
I said that they're going to add additional mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems to the house. Are there going to be any impacts to the exterior?
How will any of the electrical, plumbing, what was the third thing? Mechanical systems affect the exterior? That's his question.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for the question. One minor alteration has to do with the installation of the water heater. And back to the diagram, if you saw the bathroom location, if we go back to there, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the north, I guess that'd be the northwest corner, is the bathroom, and you can see, forgive me, I'm not an architect, so this was a crude representation, but there's a shower in the upper left-hand corner of the diagram. On the right corner is the water heater. We propose installing it there, and Plumbers that we've consulted with, tell us that, an access panel would need to be created on the exterior of the building to gain access to the water heater. It's a very tight. Yes, correct. Yeah, it's a very tight space. It'd be difficult to install or service the water heater from inside the room. And our proposal is to cut an opening, create a panel that is then clad with the cedar shingle siding that's consistent with the rest of the building. Put a piece of trim around that opening and then stain or paint to match the exterior of the dwelling.
Do you know if you're gonna be coming in from the north side or are you gonna be coming in from the west?
Yeah, coming in from the west most likely, mainly because that is opposite the road.
Okay, so
frontage
basically
view.
it's the rear
It'll
of the
be
building.
essentially behind on the back side of
Okay,
the residence. So that would be a plumbing consideration. Also to meet the energy efficiency requirements. Well, two things. One, to meet the energy efficiency requirement, and also to create heating capacity for other than the bedroom. We propose to install a mini split heat pump system. One unit probably on the south wall. If you look at the living room, it'd be to the left of the diagram. Installing a mini split unit on the wall there, which would, yeah, just below that, the cursor, yeah, right about there, but on the exterior wall, Aaron. And partly because the current gas-powered furnace will be in what will be the bedroom. So if the doors are closed, that limits the flow of heat into the rest of the dwelling. So so this would allow for heat to essentially, project into the rest of the building. The other thing is, a mini split heat unit is one of the more energy efficient methods of heat. And to meet compliance with the Department of Community and Economic Development requirements for energy efficiency, we propose to install a heat pump. Now that will, as you're, I'm sure, familiar with how heat pumps work, that will project into the exterior of the building, and an exterior unit would need to be installed as well to service the interior of the unit to make it function as it needs to. And either we would place that unit again on the back exterior wall of the building, or if we had to install it on that south facing wall, we would construct a small sort of a wall, if you will, that again is complementary to the rest of the exterior wood cedar shingle painted or stained to match the building itself, so that again that unit would be hidden from the road frontage. I think those are the only two changes that would affect the exterior of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Say again?
I said, thank you.
He said, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
any other
Can
step?
I ask one other question again?
Sure.
Of course, that's why we're
Who's
here.
gonna own the building?
City gates, right?
City
City Gates
Gates.
Ministries will own the building, and we will find, the intent is to rent it to someone who has a need and would benefit from a low cost housing.
Is city ministry a very, I mean, how is it organized?
Yeah, so again, we've been in existence for about 30 years, serving people in need in the community. Wide range of needs, food distribution, furniture, financial assistance, and then for the last decade and a half, renovating mobile homes into low-cost housing units. This is kind of in the spirit of that type of a project.
Yeah.
So once the Lacey Street property is completed in its renovation to housing or residence, we would look for a suitable individual, couple, maybe small family. It's only 726 square feet, so it would be at most a small family.
So you'd actually rent to.
We would rent it to those individuals, correct?
Is that Good, does that fit with your plans on the thing to have a family living in the middle of your thing? I mean, I'm just asking this, I don't know.
I don't know I don't understand your
He
question.
said he's gonna rent 750 feet out to a family and will live in there.
Yeah, in the
Now, is that
residential
gonna fit
neighborhood.
with what you're planning to use the building for?
That's the only thing that the building would be used for.
That's the only thing the building would be used for.
Oh,
is
so
a
it's
house.
just really for housing then?
Yes,
It's not, we're not using the rest of the building for anything else or,
correct.
and it's all in your ownership.
That's right.
And you guys are transferring the title over to him?
We don't have anything to do with it.
You don't?
Lacey
Lacey
Women's.
Women's Club,
Women's Club, okay.
they owned it and they transferred it over to City Gates Ministry. It was private property
I see.
and it still is.
Oh, well, why are we involved with them then?
The historic designation of the building is what we're involved in looking at and then ruling on whether or not this change meets the requirements for that.
Right, so this building is on Lacey's Register of Historic Properties.
Yeah.
And
I
this
knew that.
commission is the body that oversees that registry. The commission accepts nominations for properties to go on the register, and then any properties that are on the register, when they want to make changes to their building, they have to go through a review of the historical commission in order to get their permits approved.
And they will own it.
They own
Right,
it, they
yes.
still own
And you
it.
own how much land do you own with that?
It's about a half an acre of property.
So the basis of the historic designation is based on the exterior,
Right,
solely on the exterior. And they're basically are saying that they're gonna maintain the character of that and gonna keep owning it. So I assume that means keeping that up.
Yes.
So, I mean,
yeah, and
that's.
any other time that they would need a permit, they would have to go through this again. And the only thing that they don't have to go through us for are things that don't need a permit, like they could paint it purple if they wanted to. I hope that you won't. But although purple is my favorite color, I don't think it would go with the historic character
Tends to fade
of the
quickly.
building, huh?
Tends to fade quickly.
It
I'll
does.
hold the UW fans at bay on that. We'll resist that.
Emergency repairs and regular maintenance, it's all identified in the municipal code. But basically, it comes down to anything they have to go for a permit for.
Right.
Before they can get that permit, they have to get that certificate of appropriateness from us.
Could I ask one more question? Are you a Washington corporation?
We are incorporated as a not-for-profit organization. So we are tax deductible, not-for-profit, registered with the state of Washington.
You are registered in the state of
Yeah.
Washington. This is not where you're at. Are you just in the state of Washington or you are different states or how does that work?
So we reside in Thurston County. Our services are primarily to people in Thurston County. So yes, our registration as a not-for-profit organization is with the city, with the state of Washington.
I see. And do you have other states that you're in now too?
No, we're just local,
Just local?
local in this area.
Huh.
Lots of clients in Lacey, city of Lacey, as well as Olympia and other parts of Thurston County.
I've heard of the organization before, but I never really didn't knew very much about it. And that's
Yeah.
why.
We have a website as well. It gives additional information. You're welcome to take a look.
Are there any other questions,
For comments.
comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion. Aaron has given us a sample to consider. And so if we want to do that, if you want to start with that and then make amendments to it, that would also be a possibility.
I think I'd like to have it, wait a month before we do that.
We cannot,
We can.
We can't.
no,
We're
we're required
Oh,
by
you're
law.
required to do it by the date. That's right. I had thought I would, I don't know why that name of your organization pops up in my mind for something and I have no idea why. And
I'm gonna go ahead and move as suggested by Aaron, using
So,
the languages suggested.
so Kimberly has made a motion to approve the recommendation that Aaron has written up that we now have posted. Is that correct, Kimberly?
That is correct. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
And we have a second from Kevin. Discussion. Hearing
So,
none.
well, can we,
I'll take a vote.
Did somebody else say
Oh.
something?
Aaron, Alan said
Oh.
something.
Alan? Okay.
Aaron, do we have the ability to add comments?
I mean, I suppose we could add comments. But if we add conditions, then if there are conditions contingent on issuing the certificate of appropriateness, that has to be specifically related to how, I forget how I worded it because I don't have it in front of me.
Basically to the historic characteristics
Yes.
that they were approved on.
Okay, because the only comment I have is that I would really like to see the heat pump be ground mounted instead of on the building.
What?
Ground mounted instead of on the building.
Ground mounted instead of on the building,
Correct, the condensing unit.
the condensing unit.
And I might have misspoke. The condensing unit, as I'm familiar with it, those are installed on the ground. They're not mounted to the building itself. And so I might have misspoke on that point. I'm not an installer, I'm not an HVAC person, but we have one in our home and it's installed on the ground next to the building. So every expectation, that's how we would proceed with this project.
Okay.
Thanks for the
That's the only, yeah, that's the only comment I have. Typically on those mini splits, they like to put them on the building itself.
Typically, they like to put them on the building, you say?
So the inside units, again, I'm going on my own experience, are generally installed on the wall and then they are connected, the refrigerant lines, et cetera, connected to the outside unit that is put on a pad on the ground next to the building.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
Does that clarify or is there a follow-up question?
No, like I said, that would just be my personal preference.
Okay.
Yep, we agree with that.
Okay. Other questions, comments?
I'm really excited about the project and making affordable housing.
Yeah,
Thank you, we are too.
we gotta figure out the sound issue.
So, I guess I'm open. Let's go ahead and go to a vote. All in favor of this particular recommendation that's on the board for everybody to see, please say aye.
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 Okay. They all said it.
Okay. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, I think we have approved this staff recommendation. I will just note on the side now that we're done that I lived in a house that was on the Olympia register before moving to Lacey. We had actually remodeled the house, gone through all the approvals to get the remodel. It was a 1914 house, and then when we had to go back and change the front steps because they were eroding, and I do mean eroding, we ended up having the commission come through and review the entire step structure that we were gonna put in to try to make sure we did something that was appropriate to the building age. And, you know, we weren't able to match perfectly because of just issues of structure, but we were able to get pretty close, so. And yeah, we went through the whole thing, we had 5 people march around the property and check the steps and the whole shooting match, so. A little bit familiar with that.
And I will put in writing that the commission has approved it, copy to the Community Economic Development. I'm gonna be off until Monday. Do you want me to send that out before I leave tonight, or can we wait till Monday?
It can wait till Monday.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine. And thank you very much for your support on this project. We feel like it's really a partnership with the city of Lacey and I'm sure we'll be communicating as time goes forward. So thank you very much.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
Ed.
We really appreciate your desire to keep the historic nature of the building.
Yeah,
Very much so.
I'm glad to hear that you're cooperating with the Historic Society in the garden area as
Yeah.
well.
It's, half an acre is sizable property. I think there's opportunity for other
We hope.
related uses that benefit the community in a memorial garden. If it pans out, we'd love to work with you on that.
I'll have my
Very
people
good.
talk to your people.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, with that, we will move on to Aaron's discussion of recent acquisitions.
Yes. Okay. Is share screen. Alrighty. Okay, so we have two acquisitions. We received Senator Karen Frazier's records relating to a proposed racetrack in Hawks Prairie in 1992. A little backstory: in the early 1990s, development of Hawks Prairie area was a hotly discussed property. Many people wanted their piece of it. And so when Longacres racetrack planned to close in 1991, the Washington Horse Racing Commission at the time said that they would give one other license once they closed. And so Lacey was one of the proposed sites. Although it eventually went to Emerald Downs in Auburn. Can you imagine that?
Where in Lacey was it supposed to be?
Up by where, I remember, I did look at the map because I'm like, where is this? I think kind of by where, like, where the round, it's hard to tell on the map because Willamette wasn't there then.
Right.
But I think it's kind of in the area north of that roundabout at
Okay.
Willamette and Marvin.
Okay. I really vaguely remember some
Do you?
conversation about that, but very vaguely. And I never was quite clear where they were thinking about doing that.
Yeah, there's a map. I
Okay.
could
Oh, well,
overlay
that's
it.
fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, yeah, we preserve history that didn't happen too. So there's that one. And then, our most favorite thing lately is, we have met this wonderful gentleman, Walter Bowen. He was, a part of the Greater Olympia Dixieland Jazz Society. I'm sure many of you remember the jazz festival that was held at St. Martin's. It was held from 1991 to 2019. And from 2001 on, it was held here in Lacey. And it attracted thousands of people, so many nationwide bands, and like a whole field of RVs. The pictures are amazing. So this is just the first installment. We've actually already received the next installment, so that'll be on the next agenda. But basically, they're disbanding. We went to we were invited to attend their last dance of the organization, live Dixieland jazz music and singing and dancing. It was really cool. We enjoyed it. So this installment is photo albums of those jazz festivals. And we have other collections like this, like the Mad Fest. We have all their records and Lacey Fun Fair. And then we also have other records from local nonprofit organizations. So it fits right in with our collection. And so future installments will include their organization records, recordings of music, a few commemorative artifact type things, some posters, a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. So
those are the two items we need to vote to approve, basically, for you to acquire. So, any discussion from the commission members? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve Aaron's acquisition of these.
I'll motion to approve.
Kevin?
And I'll second it.
Ed, second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, you got it, Erin.
Thank you.
And then next up, summer programs.
Yeah, so we are dipping our feet into the paid program recreation activities. Felicia and Olivia have designed this really fun scavenger hunt. Teams, people will pay $10 and have teams, and they've created all these places around Lacey where they can go and take pictures. They'll get coordinates of where they're supposed to go. They'll also get a description of what it is. So if you already know where the former Lacey Museum was, you can just go there. But if you don't, you can use the coordinates by looking at the map app on your phone, and it will help take you there. And then there are 4 check-in sites, and we partnered with Bog and Fern and Just 'Cause Coffee to have one each of our check-in stations there. Because we want to do a lot of future events with the local businesses in the community and make it a really fun thing. And so we've already got a couple of teams signed up. That's going to be in July. July, why did I not put the date on here? I think it's July 19th. That's what's coming to mind. But anyway, thank you. But if you have anyone that you know that would like, or you would like to participate, you can do it on your own or in a team. We're going to have prizes. We have made really cool medallions with Lacey Museum design, like totally unique things with our new mascot, Basil the Badger. He's very cute, but anyway, I think it's gonna be cool. We're learning as we go. We already figured out that we made some mistakes, but that's okay. It's a learning process. So I don't know so the other thing we were thinking of doing was a walking tour. I don't know if we're gonna get to that because of the new museum project, but we're trying. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I know they're having a meeting of the museum volunteers this Saturday.
Yes,
so.
they are. Yeah, and training on the scavenger hunt.
Yep.
Yes.
If I may, if folks want to register, it's laceyparks.org.
Thank you.
/register.
Okay. Thank
What
you.
was it again, Lacey's?
Lacey.
.org.
/register.
Here, I'll even show you what it looks like. Go here, there's this big register button. Click there, and right here is Lacey Museum. Our place is here, and then down here is the scavenger hunt. You see museums, Great Lacey Adventure. There's Basil the Badger right there looking adorable. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so reports.
Realize I didn't share that with them.
Pardon me?
While you're talking, I'll share that with the group because I didn't do that.
Okay. So Lacey Historical Society, you're up.
Again, my name is John Jacobs. I have a cold and I'm not with the commission, I'm with the society. I did wish to extend Mr. Halverson's regrets for not being here. He is unable to attend, and so just let you know that. I also wanted to let you know that we're really happy to report that we now have over 125 members of the Lacey Historical Society, which looking back just a little over 2 years ago, we were on the cusp of having 0. And we feel very proud of the accomplishments and the cooperation we've had with the city officials.
I missed the number.
125.
Nice.
As of the previous high was 118 just before the pandemic.
Wow.
So, and this includes, one thing that stuns me as the person who keeps track of the membership rolls, how many of our members that were alive in 2022 are no longer with us. And yet we have gained despite that. So we're really happy, and we are looking forward to the second point that we'd like to share with you. Please mark your calendars for September 9th, which is our required by the nonprofit corporation statutes to have an annual meeting of the membership. This year, we are planning on inviting all of the living historians of the year, and that is our program. And that was at my request, because otherwise it would have been just me, and that was not acceptable. But just to note, the prior historians of the year include myself and Paul Webb from last year. Dr. Ehlers was a historian of the year, was on the Historical Society, and of course, my mom.
Will you invite families of those who are gone?
Yes, exactly. I will be chatting with you next week for any assistance in
Getting a hold of them?
Yes. And speaking of Dr. Ehlers, we are continuing our efforts to have some memorial for him. We have recently received from the Lacey Makerspace organization an incredibly impressive statuette. I guess
Actually, I saw that on Facebook.
did you?
Yes, that's really great.
Yes, we're trying to get it out slowly, not, but yeah, it's a feature of our plan for a friend and fundraising program later this year. Related to that, we have established a small advisory committee. We're meeting with them for the first time on July 19th to kind of, it includes Susan Ehlers, Dr. Ehlers' daughter, the children of his lead nurse, and a few others that are been behind us and sort of want to figure out how we best go about sharing that information and asking for some support so that we can get through this, get this accomplished. So the only other thing I wanted to report is that we are in the middle of updating our internet presence. I don't know what, out there in the web somewhere, we're making some changes to try and get more interest and better distribution of how we can interact with our constituencies to get more stories for us to tell. And I have to commend Aaron as a very important partner in retaining those things. I see us as truly working together to find and generate and then retain.
There you go.
Yes, there's kind of our big emphasis, as you can see, is big, bold, green, join now. Which, by the way, thank you. I won't point fingers, but thank you to the members of the commission who have joined. We really do appreciate your support. Thank you.
Well, we really thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Kimberly, anything on the Policy Steps Committee?
Nope, we're still on hiatus, but thanks for asking.
Okay, thank you. Well, we've got you up and you've got your mic on.
Sure.
I'll let you kick off the reports from the commissioners. Anything?
Terribly boring. I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay. Alan, anything you'd like to report?
I'll follow that up with nothing to report.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Talai?
I only have one thing to report. We
Okay.
have our annual
Yeah.
Lacey.
You went around to the presidents.
Yeah, yeah, I did do that. I went to 13 presidents and
Museum.
memorials,
Yeah.
museums. Quite interesting.
Kevin?
Um,
And I've got a quiet month too here, so.
Excuse me.
Oh.
Tulane was speaking.
Yes, I was trying to say something. Thank you, Kim. Hello? Can you hear me?
Can you say it again?
Yes, can you all hear me?
I can hear you and I will relay what you are saying.
Okay, so I just wanted to report that next week we have our annual Lacey, Polyfest at the Rec on Friday and Saturday
Again, you
next
said
week.
is Polyfest.
All
Is that
right,
right?
yes, next week, the 27th and 28th of this month
27th and the 28th.
is the Lacey, is our annual, Lacey Polyfest.
And where is it?
It'll be at the Rec,
Lacey Polyfest at the Rec.
correct.
Thank you. We're having sound issues. I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Ty.
You're welcome.
So as I noted, I have nothing to report, so I think we're turning to you.
I have things to report.
I figured you did.
So if you manage to get through the whole packet, I know I sent you a book. In the packet was an application for a tax valuation and a letter. So it's kind of the night for historic register. So one of the incentives of being on the local historic register is that there is an opportunity for a property tax reduction for 10 years, and it's called a special tax valuation. And it's covered by state law, RCW 8426, if you're interested. Unfortunately, it can be a very difficult tax break to get because there are pretty strict timeframe requirements, monetary thresholds. Although with inflation, it seems like a much smaller amount than it used to be. And the owner also has to provide significant documentation. And so they usually need to plan well ahead for this. And the owner of the Bowker House recently applied for this tax reduction, but unfortunately, they submitted it way too late. I did, just so you know, when she was starting this renovation process, I did give her all this information, including the time frame and everything. But, you know, when you're undergoing a project like that, I gave her a lot of information at that time. So it probably was one of those things that got stuck in the back of her mind. So it's a shame, but there's nothing we can do because it's just in the state law. So, so I sent her a letter on behalf of the commission, letting her know that if she did have, you know, if I didn't understand correctly and she had documentation to, that she did have some in the time frame to let me know, but I haven't heard. So that's what that was.
What's the Bowker House?
The Bowker House is a property on Bowker Street. It's the
That's not
oldest,
much help.
it's the oldest house in,
Bowker runs right along the east boundary of St. Martin's grounds.
Oh,
And
good.
right by the Sacred Heart Catholic Church.
yeah, Sacred Heart is on that street too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's the oldest residence in the historical neighborhood there.
I know where it's at now.
Yeah.
I know where it's at.
And so it was renovated a few years ago. And they did a very nice job.
Did
It's
a
very,
beautiful job.
it's very nice. Yeah. Okay, and then the next thing is that I am very pleased to share that a memorandum of understanding with Thurston County has been executed for us to take over the printing of Water, Woods, and Prairies. So we are officially the publisher of that book.
What book is that?
It's called Water, Woods, and Prairies. It's a Thurston County history book.
I know.
So we put in a budget request for this year to cover the printing, so we already have the money for it. There is a lot to do before we can do the printing. We have to get permission to reprint all the photos, and there are hundreds of photos. So that's gonna take me a minute. And then there's no plans to do any content changes really, but I do want to make sure that things are consistent, and the captions need to make sure that they have to reflect what copyright holders want for their credit. And so I want to make sure those are correct. So just stuff like that.
Who's doing that?
Who's doing what?
The book,
The book's already made.
it's already made, is it published? Can I go buy it somewhere?
No, it's out of print. That's why we're taking it over
that's
so
what-
that we can get it reprinted in a second edition.
Wondering why we're doing it at all, what it was.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and then I'll also probably add, a second edition. Right now, there's a second printing page where they talk about like what they changed, and we'll probably change that too. There may be a few instances where we change pictures if we can't get the permission, or I can get it free instead of pay. Like some of the pictures they paid for, I have either the same thing or something very similar in our collection that we could use for free, so.
About how long do you think it'll take to put the whole?
I
second
mean,
edition
if we
into
didn't have this
publication?
new museum, I think we could do it by the end of the year, but it'll probably be the beginning of next year. I'll probably have to roll the money over. Which, to be fair, is probably okay because I'm guessing with inflation that what I asked for isn't gonna be enough, so I can ask for some more in the next budget
Who does
cycle.
the publishing of this?
We do now,
You do the publishing now?
Yeah.
yeah,
So you have the rights to
Yes.
publish it and all that?
yep,
And
the,
are old books around?
Mhm.
Okay,
yeah, you can check it out at the library.
I think I may have a couple, that's why I wondered.
Right,
I
yeah.
think I have a copy.
I may be borrowing it just so I can see if I can match it.
Yeah, so we'll be able to sell that in our new museum store. All right. Some updates on the museum. We got our reader reels installed and put together this week. So let me share. Oh, we lost Tulai. Looks like, did you say that already? Can you see the photos?
Okay, yeah.
Kimberly, can you see the photo or just the,
Yeah,
Do I have
we,
to re-
we can see the big thumbnail. That's good enough.
Your file folder something.
There you go.
here? Why is everything in the way? Let me get rid of that stuff.
Because it used to work and Microsoft decided our lives were too easy.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God, I hate you so much. Anywho. Hopefully you can get the idea. So this is our wall. This is one of our old platforms, so you can see an idea of what it will look, they won't be black, but so you can see there will be platforms in here. And so these are the reader rails that the Lacey Makerspace made so that we can easily change out these panels whenever we want to do that. And then it's hard to see in the picture, but we got Lacey shirts made for the store. They're really cool. They say Lacey and 1996 in Washington. And it's hard to tell the color, but the color of blue is a really nice color. Here's another picture of inside the museum. That's a better picture, closer up. And some more pictures. Okay, and then next week or the week after, I can't remember, I think it's next week. We're having installed our photo murals on the side of the building. Let's see. Can you see that? No? Okay, I'm gonna. There it is. now you can see it.
Yep.
So
Looks
on the
great.
side of our building, this film will go in the window, and so this will be a lovely photo op right outside the building. There's a little postcard picture you can take, and then on the left are a collage of 6 of our historic photos. Yeah. I think museum staff did a really great job on those. Can't wait to get them in. They're gonna look really cool. So we've been getting samples of the store merchandise that the gals have designed, some really cool stuff. I was gonna bring some stuff, but they want me to wait until it's closer to time. So I will wait. But it's gonna be unique because there's not really anywhere you can buy Lacey merchandise in town. So we're gonna be it. And we got postcards too. Postcards. Okay. And then the Russell House, we finally got our new furnace and air conditioner. So the temperature is just right in there now. As opposed to really, really, really cold.
Or hot, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, it was so weird because our furnace died and then the city hall furnace went kaput and they had to get a
Oh,
new
you're
one.
kidding.
And so guess how long mine took because there's, I don't know, it took priority or something.
A few more people here.
Yeah. I also wanted to share that we had a fun research request. A mom and her son, he had a project for a school paper to write about pioneers. And so they're members of the Hawk and Mays families of Hawks Prairie. And so I was able to share with them information and it was pretty cool for them. And then Olivia and Felicia and I, we went to to the State Museum Conference last week. We had a good time and learned a lot and got to know some of our colleagues. The highlight of that for me was when we were at the Chelan Museum for the opening reception, I looked over on the wall and there were my great-grandparents on the wall. And apparently 2 of the volunteers that work at the museum are my cousins. So, I mean, I knew they lived in Chelan, but I didn't realize that they were like pioneers. So that was pretty cool. The Olympia Arts and Heritage Alliance, they're opening their museum on Saturday, June 28th. Their grand opening is from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're at 203 Columbia Street Northwest in Olympia. So in solidarity for our colleagues, I encourage you to go see them.
Is that the old candy shop?
I don't know. I don't know Olympia history. I know
Oh.
Lacey history.
No, this is just like last year.
Oh.
They just took over.
I don't go to Olympia very often, so I don't know.
What was the address? I'm sorry.
It's 203 Columbia Street.
It's right down by the,
Oh, down, okay.
where the end of the street jogs around in the water.
Got
It's right there.
Right there.
One block up from the water,
Thank you. Thank you very
by
much.
the old folks.
What? Kimberly, did you say something?
Nope.
All right. Okay, and then lastly, the State Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation is doing their Staff Academy virtual training program. It's free, noon time. There is some architectural history in there. I will send you guys the notice for that because it's not like you just sign up for one thing, you have to register and all that. So, but this is some good training for you guys as a commission, and being free is pretty cool. And they put it in these nice small chunks so that, and there's some There's a couple of trainings on their mapping system with the historic properties, which I think I'm gonna do. So I'll send that out, but I just wanted to let you know it was coming, to be aware, that there's some good training for you guys with the state. That is my long-winded report. You're welcome.
When is our next meeting?
Our next meeting is,
July 16th.
thank you.
So is there any further business?
Yes, you forgot the director's report.
Oh, the director's report. I am sorry.
I'm going to now put on my director hat and pretend to be Jen and not succeed. Cause she's so much perkier than me. Okay, so she said, during the last historical commission meeting, she shared the Lacey Community Foundation would be on the May 27th City Council work session agenda to report out on the work they've been doing over the past year, the 5-year fundraising plan and associated communications plan, but that got pulled off the agenda as we're having further conversations with them. So she'll share more, she knows more, and thanks you for your patience on that. At the May 20th City Council meeting, I shared the 2024 Museum Annual Report. Thanks to those of you who were there, and we celebrated May as History Month. Jen also gave a brief new Museum and Cultural Center report. Key takeaways from that are that the project budget needs to be updated with the cost of inflation. I'm scared of that number. And our funding buckets also need to be recalibrated to reflect reality. Summer programs are underway in the rest of the department as well. Don't forget that our Lacey in Tune concert series at Hunter Park, and we also have our 3rd of July event happening at Rainier Vista Park. The same website we mentioned earlier, laceyparks.org, is where you can find more information on those. The market events at the Lacey Depot are happening every Friday night during the season, and they have been super packed. I haven't gone because I don't like crowds very much, but I hear they are amazing. Lacey Metropolitan Park District Proposition 1, staff have been giving approximately 3 presentations per week to community groups and boards to share information about it. Jen will be giving the informational presentation to all of you at our next meeting.
So you both come up.
Do you know when the vote is?
August 5th.
August 5th. Also in July, our department will be celebrating Parks and Recreation Month with special social media posts. If I could talk, that would be great. And a presentation at the July 15th City Council meeting, and they will also be doing their 2024 annual report at that meeting. That is all.
Okay. Any questions on anything we've gone through so far? If not, now we will look at it. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
Well, my notes from you overwhelmed. I lost the director thing altogether.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. As you noted, what the next meeting is currently planned for July 16th. So 6:30, are we doing 6:30?
Let's just look at the same thing.
Oh, it should be 6. That's an
Okay.
error.
This other one was 6:30 for today, I think, or the day before. I got one.
6:30?
No, it's at 5:30.
Oh, weird.
Okay, so at
Accident.
6 o'clock.
We
on
do
the-
typos sometimes.
That's fine. I just happened to notice that as I was sitting here, I was going, oh, that's not, where are we changing something?
Yeah, I had the 2 of them that were both here and they're one's at 6 and one's at 6:30. I thought they've changed it while I was gone.
Okay, so with all of that and with that clarification, I will welcome a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Kevin, so
Seconded.
motions, Ed seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 I
I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.